All right, happy Monday, friends. Tonight we are going to talk about sharing about the coaching opportunity and anywhere, doesn't matter what space, like what you are in the business, we're going to be sharing about how you can share from where you're at. Because I mean, I'm the only one on here who's like been here for 6 years. Everybody else is 5 years and 11 months or 5 years or less. And so it doesn't matter where you are in your coaching journey, but learning how to share from where you are is what we kind of want to do. We want to share some post ideas that we found and just give you kind of what we go off of. I know that when we first start coaching, it gets a little bit overwhelming to share about coaching because we're like, well, I'm not there yet. I haven't made it. And so we kind of want to give you ways in order to jab, jab, right hook the coaching opportunity and share those things that are that made you want to join. And so I'm going to share my screen now. All right. So we have how to share the coaching opportunity. Now we just went through and found some different coaches and how they shared about the coaching opportunity, and we're going to kind of talk through them. I'm going to have to make this less than 75% because it's not going to work. Let's do 50. Okay, that will work. All right, so right here we have Kate Schultes. Now she is a new mom of a little boy. She's been coaching for 2 or 3 years, but it's just like how she did and how she's signing right here. If you're looking at her post, just a picture of her and don't quit. And she said, when I signed up to coach, I had no idea what I was doing. Now, right now, she is hitting that pain point of I'm not good enough. I'm not experienced enough. I don't know what it is to build a business, all of the things. And she's just saying, like, I didn't know either. So she's relating to people at that level. And I know when I started, I didn't know how to do any of it. And some things I'm still learning as I go. And so I think it's important to remind your followers that they don't have to know everything before they say yes. They don't have to have it all together, but we all start at the same starting point, knowing nothing. Now, some people do start knowing more because you might have a degree in network or marketing and all of that, but in general, most of our people, like, we don't know. And so she's able to share, like, she started from zero and learned as she went. The next one I have is Danny Detra. Um, and this one is kind of, I love this post because it's talking about, like, what if I fail? And I think that's most people's worry is like, what if I fail? And I love that she says, like, if you start and you decide it's not for you, nothing bad happens. Like, you can go all in and be like, you know what, this isn't for me, and nothing's going to happen. But if you don't say yes, you're never going to know. And so I love how she says, if all I ever get is health, all I ever get is a community or confidence or family, like time with my family or support or friendship, like, isn't that worth it? And so I do speak to that a lot. And I talk to people like, what if all you get are some really amazing friends? Like, isn't that worth taking that leap? What if all you get is getting to the best shape of your life because you found a community that supports you and encourages you along the way? And so I think making sure that people know that you get more than just an income out of this business is huge. And I mean, she has a picture with some of her girls. Like, it can be a picture of just you, it can be a picture of girls. I know, like, right now, we haven't had the opportunity to get together. And so we're like, I don't have pictures with people. We do have in our in our team page, pictures where we took when we were last together where nobody's faces are showing. We did that on purpose. So that way, if you weren't there, you can use those pictures. So, like, when there's a picture of all of us from behind, nobody knows that you're not the one dark haired girl in there. Like, they don't know it's me and it's not you. You know what I'm saying? And so you can go ahead and use those pictures. But I think hitting those pain points of, like, what if I fail? But is it a failure if you get these things out of it? Like, why do we have to make it some 6-figure, multi-million-dollar business to make it worth our time? What if you just have that one person who's like, you changed my life because you said yes? Like, for me, like, Crystal was my first challenger, my first coach to sign up. And, like, she lost 88 pounds, was barely able to walk up her stairs, had horrible MS, and some of you don't even know her, but she lost 88 pounds. She is now an Ironman triathlete. Like that to me, like it changed her life just because I said yes. And so like knowing that, like even if I don't like get some top 10, like knowing that is worth it. And so being able to share those things is huge. It doesn't have to be all the income. And you get to wrestle a baby as you're going along. So, I mean, that's fun. I love this one by Mariah. This one's talking about how do I find success in my business even on the weekend? And so I think a lot of people's fears are, am I going to be able to have a life outside of this? Like I'm already so busy. I'm already don't have enough time. And so you can share how you fit this business into your schedule. I mean, it's like talking about just waking up a couple hours early or being able to share that you do it on your lunch break. I feel like we all think that like, well, you're home full time, but I wasn't when I started. And so when I first started, I was sharing about how I get up early on the weekend, was able to do that without missing out on time with my kids. And so I think being able to just share something simple that like relates to people, like I'm still able to be intentional with my kids or with my significant other. But then I'm also able to put time into this business. And so sharing, like, I mean, she is a nurse practitioner at the hospital, has 2 little ones, is engaged, all of the things, and just sharing how she fits it in to a busy schedule. Let me see, where's the next one? And then this one with Amy Bailey, she was asked about her why. And I think the great thing about this one is like your why can change as you go. Amy and I were talking about this earlier, is like when I first started, my why was to be able to pay for my Shakeology and to pay for vacations. That was my initial why. And I just needed a change. Like it wasn't to quit my job. I thought I was going to teach for 30 years like every other teacher. I had no intention of quitting. Yes, I would have loved to, but I didn't think that was an opportunity. So my why has progressed. And then as soon as I was able to pay for vacations, then my why shifted to, I don't want to miss out on my kids' school events anymore. So I want to have that freedom. I want to go part-time, I want to go full-time coaching. And then now that I'm full-time coaching, my why has shifted again. And so I think it's important to like your why, where you're at right now, is remembering that. Why did you start? What is so important about this business that made you want to say yes? Maybe it's because you want to help people get healthy and feel like you are. That is, like that why is amazing. But you need to be able to have something that gets you up in the hard, and just sharing about why you started. So maybe it is the reason I started was because this community changed my life. I was able to make sure, I mean, I had a girl today who just texted me and was like, I just really appreciate that you never give up on me and you still text me once a week, even when I ignore you. Now I do only let them ignore me 3 times and then they're out. But like, she always responds eventually and she's like, I'm back at it again. Thanks for not giving up on me. And so I think that it's important. Like my original why of helping people is still there. It's just, I can have other, what is it? Depths. I don't know. My vocabulary is struggling right now of my why. Amy, this one is one of yours.
All right. So this one from Janine Bonhard was just kind of addressing like, what do people on the internet see, and then what does it actually mean to me? Because we can easily post stuff on social media that looks good, that looks cute, that looks fun, but what does it actually mean to us? And so I loved how she incorporated just the community aspect of it, and thinking of all the different reasons of coaching, like the why part of it. Like at first, I didn't realize that there was a whole community aspect of it. That has grown as I have grown as a coach. That isn't more important to me now, as it kind of anchored me as on my journey. Like that part of it has gotten so much more important and so much bigger as friendships have developed and stuff. And so expressing that and explaining to people what they're seeing. Like, yeah, it might look like this, but these are what I see out of these people. And these are people who work hard, that I get to share my life with, and I get to rub shoulders with and do business with every single day. So I liked that one of just kind of addressing the difference between what we see. I obviously got stuck on Janine's Instagram. She's I kind of have a girl crush on her. This one, and I love that Melissa was talking about the pain points. Speaking to the pain points, Emily Favre said something in her Instagram training the other day. She says, how can I make someone feel something or think about something? How can I make them feel it and think about it? And so this post of Janine's, when I stopped, because that what if question, those two small words, those can hold so much power. And I think a lot of us sit back and are like, well, what if? Well, let's address those things that we know people are thinking. What if this fails? Or what if people don't trust me? What if people behind my back? And then flipping it. So speaking to where people might have insecurity or fear, but then flipping it and showing them, but what if this is possible? So kind of thinking about, what was I fearful about? I was really fearful what my friends were going to say about me. And now, if that was my fear, obviously that's going to be somebody else's fear too. Okay, so how can I address that? How did I personally overcome it? And now, why do I not care about that what if anymore? So, okay, that was Janine's. Holly Hillier. I love this because when time is one of people's biggest excuses, like, I don't have the time, my life is too busy. And yet we know that statistics show that people are watching Netflix, people scroll social media for 2 hours a day. It's about prioritizing that time. And I love that she addresses this. She says that she gave up TV 6 years ago so that she can build a business, so that the negativity of media, she swapped that so that she was actually giving to herself what she needed for her business and getting rid of that thing in her life that really wasn't serving her in where she wanted to go. And I love that I love her first line, I gave up TV 6 years ago. Somebody says that, I'm like, oh, why? Why did you give up TV? So catching your followers' attention with something like that, I think is really important too, because especially on Instagram, where it's such a visual platform, but your words are important too. And so if you can catch somebody's attention, and I loved that first line, like the power in that first line, I think was really good. I like that at the end she asked, anyone else team no TV? Or like, that kind of allows people to think, well, I guess I could be if I don't want to. And then Ashley Smith, let's see, which one was this one? Oh, she actually shares what she did. And so she kind of gives a how-to of, this is a big risk that I took, but this is how I do it. So no matter where you are, like, I actually had a lady ask me the other day, she's like, wait, you homeschool your children? She's like, how do you have a business and homeschool your children? Like, I don't understand how that's even possible for you. She's in a homeschooling group no, she wasn't in a homeschooling group because she didn't know I homeschool my kids. And I was like, well, and she goes, no, I want to know exactly how you do it. Like, what does your day look like? And I thought, I've actually never shared my schedule or like exactly what I do to get things done that I need done in the day. And so I love how Ashley kind of addresses this, how she created her own schedule around her babies, how all she did all the things that she did. And I love that she talks about like, it's a lot of hard work, but if you're willing to do it, then it's possible. And so addressing that too, like letting people know it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's hard work, but if you want it, then it can happen. So that's what I got from that one.
That was actually the last example, but we also just wanted to kind of go over a few things to get you thinking, and maybe take a little bit and like enter it into the chat so that everybody can kind of see, like answering the questions like, why did you start? Like, why did you finally say yes to coaching? So we have accountability originally for the discount, and then helping other women because I became obsessed with it. And now I want to be able to stay home and have time freedom. Sarah says to help people, too fast, to help people feel their best. Like I began to, because I trusted the person who asked me. Melissa kept on me. Yep. I wanted other busy moms to know it was possible to have a full-time career and be healthy. Wanted to help others feel the way I was feeling, to help women feel the anxiety and depression relief from these programs, all such amazing things. I love it. Wanted a bigger car. For me, it was vacations at first, and then it was coming home full-time. But I started mainly because I just needed a distraction, to be honest. And I mean, sometimes it's as simple as that. All right. Let's see.
And I think it's important to like remember those things and talk to your old self. Like when you are making posts, when you are talking in your stories, talk to your old self and I remember I kind of worked a few jobs for job's sake, and I always envied my husband because he has known what he wanted to do, is very passionate about what he does. And I'm like, what's it like to feel passionate about the work that you're doing? And I always kind of envied that in him. And then when I started doing this, it wasn't like right away, I felt like quite a newbie. But once I was like really into it and devoted to it, I'm like, oh, this is what it feels like to be like passionate about something and care about it. And so I sometimes have to remember I need to talk to the person who feels like they don't have purpose or passion in their work, because that is what this business has given me too. Not just the ability to stay with my kids, not just the accountability, but it's given me like purpose to use my time and work well.
Yes, and I think like in mentorship that I'm in right now, it's talking about like your mission, and making it like a one sentence thing and trying to figure out like it is making people feel the way they do. And so like for mine, I'm like, I want to empower women to feel and be their best. Like there's nothing like being told like you're allowed to feel your best. You're allowed to be your best, and you're allowed to take time for you. But it's also I've added while building a life of financial freedom. For what it looks like to you. So maybe to Tabitha, that financial freedom is I don't have credit card debt, or I get to go on wherever I want with my guy. Like we get to travel. But for Ashley, it's I want to stay home. And like it can be different for what that financial freedom is. And it's funny because we had a date box, and my husband and I were sitting down, and it was like 10 goals. And like one of my goals, it seems ridiculous, but my goal is to not have a grocery budget. I want to walk into Costco and grab whatever snacks I want and not have to worry about the in line. And like, that's just something simple. And we don't have like a crazy tight budget or anything, but for me, like to be able just to walk in and say, you know what, I want that instead. And so figuring out those things. And also, like I was talking to Sarah the other day, and like, yes, you want, like, her goal is to help people. And I said, you know what, for me, like, that's what I want to do. And I've realized that the more financial freedom we have, the more I can help people, not just in fitness. I can give to more people. My cousin always collects shoes for foster care. And every couple of months, I send her 10 pairs of shoes that I order online. But I can do that because of the financial freedom that I'm building because of that. And so I think it's just like remembering that it might not just be for you. It might be like, you want to give more. You want to be able to support other people. And so remembering that and like how it can shift and change. I also want to say, what do you love about coaching and what makes you excited? Okay, like being able to write things down that you love and are being excited about, sharing those. And maybe you're not at that financial goal, but you're excited because you've seen somebody else do it. Yes, when someone shares their wins with you, that's like my best. When I get a text message of this is my biggest paycheck, or I lost 10 pounds, or any of that. Those are always like so like when a mama hits a goal. Yes. I'm reading this out loud because people who are on the recording don't get to see them. I know you can all read. I love when a woman tells me how grateful she is. Yes. I think that that's like, that makes you like, okay, this was worth it. It was worth me getting up early. It was worth me pushing through the hard. When someone finished their first program, yes, like nothing like somebody saying, hey, I've never committed to something like this and I just finished. Like maybe it's not your thing to finish, but when you hear somebody else say they've never finished anything, it's awesome. Tracy says, it's complete opposite of my career. It brings me joy in ways my career can't. Yes. And I think sometimes like I was a math teacher, and very rare do you get students who are like, I love math. Like I'm constantly calling people and all the things. And this brought me joy. And yes, I'm still on people in a way and being like, come on, you gotta eat your greens. But it's a different thing because I'm getting that like that passion of like changing lives in a different way than teaching math did. I love the community that comes with it, going through experiences with customers. Yes. And I think like when you're able to like share that, like I was able to connect to my people and share the community, share the experiences, all of those things. Social media besties. Yes, I can't wait till we're all together. Everyone that I got into the best shape of my life, I never imagined how I could have a body like I have now. Yes, I think I was saying the other day that like for me, my legs and my arms were always something I was embarrassed of. Like they were always like big. And I'm finally like comfortable in my own skin where I'm like, when somebody says, wow, do you lift weights? I'm like, I do. Whereas before I'd be super embarrassed. And now I'm like, I love it. And like being able to see other people come into that. Started because of my arms. All right. Let me think what I had other questions written down. So what are you excited about, or what are you looking forward to that you know can happen because of this business? Building a team of people who are experiencing financial freedom and passion in the work, excited to help other women feel good about themselves, more money to build our house. Yes. I know that last year my goal was to be able to cover my husband's coaching stipend because he was burnt out. And that was, I had to show that I could cover his stipend. And it's like $12,000 coaching stipend with all of the things that he does, all the extra time. And I covered it. So he was able to walk in and not feel a financial burden because I covered it. And so I think like having that, looking forward to building a house and being able to go on vacations. Yes, and we can finally leave. Excited about hitting 2 stars so I can open up a second TBC and so I can earn all the income that has been accruing over the years on my strong side. If you are new, you have a strong leg and a weak leg. And when that volume builds up, it's a beautiful thing when you are even and you don't have to like, oh, that's wasted money while it's just sitting there. And they can provide peace during Peter's DocGo program. Yes. All right, I love these. Amy, you'd like to share?
What did you want me? I don't know. Oh, I know what I wanted to share. Yes. So all these things are so good, and you guys are coming up with like such good lists, and I want you to write those down and find ways to talk about these things, because whatever we talk about is what gets repeated. Whatever we talk about and share about is what we end up with. And so I know honestly, for a long time, I just wasn't really comfortable sharing about the coaching opportunity. And that was on me. That was my own bad. And so I didn't see the coaches coming in. But now I'm like, okay, I'm making it a goal to talk more about coaching. And it doesn't have to be big, but finding a way to talk either every other day or every day about coaching, either in my stories or a post, like just a little part of it. The other day it was just, I was working on a project for new coaches that I'm excited about. And so it was just sharing like the time that went on between when I started and I realized, oh my gosh, my kids needed to eat. Just sharing that I was excited about working on a project. And then the day before that, I tried to share a little bit about the community aspect of it and the friendships that coaching has brought me. And so finding something, a way to talk about coaching or a way to collect stories, other coaching stories, to just share about those. And the more you talk about it, the more people know what you're doing and know that it is like, it could be an option for them. And speaking to those pain points, you don't know, one person might have one of your pain points, but not any of the others. And so sharing those all along the way when they kind of arise or when you remember them, it allows you to reach a whole different slew of people. So continue to talk about it. Like, don't just write these beautiful, amazing things down in our chat and then not share about them, because these are incredible, and reading these, it makes me excited to go do my job again. And so like, remember those, write them down for you, but then also write them down to be able to share them in the future.
Yeah, and like, I mean, like Sarah just added one that was like adding or saving for her girls' college. Like a lot of people can't even like fathom that, and to be able to like say the word savings, like that's huge for people. And so like Amy said, I want to encourage you to make a note on your phone or somewhere so that you have 4, 5, 7 different things that you can rotate through and be talking about. Don't feel like you're going to be a broken record, because not everybody sees you. I mean, I can see on mine, I have 5,000 followers and maybe 250 people saw my story that day, or maybe it was only 50 people saw my story that day. And so all the other ones didn't. And so you want to make sure that you're constantly talking something. And that's why it's that jab, jab, right hook. You're just the little things, like saying things you're passionate about, things that you love about it, talking about your group. Maybe it's recording a video of all the posts, sharing a recipe in there, and being like, I never got these things before and now I get them. It doesn't have to be some huge financial thing. I actually get more like nervous about sharing the financial than any of the other things. And I think it's just, I like to relate it to We got to go to dinner. I got to pay for our mortgage. I got to pay for our cell phone bills. We got to go on vacation. Using words instead of dollar amounts. One, it doesn't get you in trouble with corporate, but two, it's like people put their own dollar amounts on things, and it puts their own thing, like diapers, or getting to do a secret thing for a friend, or sending shoes to somebody. I mean, just all of the things. When you post about coaching, do you always ask them to join or rotate between a statement and a call to action? I don't always ask them to a call to action on all the posts. I think like we were showing things like, this is what people see and this is what actually I see. Those are telling people like, this is what coaching is about. And then every, once a week or every other week, making a hard call to action or doing it in your stories. But call to action doesn't have to be all of the time. You can just be sharing as you go, and people are going to start reaching out. Or I have several saved in my unfold where it goes through. If you want the team ones, I share it on our Rise Up page. I do have those. If more of you want to send them to me, I have like several, like what coaching has done for me. Those are fun to share every now and again. I just saved them all so that you can use them if you want. But I just took a little snippet from a bunch of you, and just made a really cool slideshow to go on our sneak peek. Well, I've been using them in my stories because people need to see not just me having success. They need to see Anna. They need to see Tracy. They need to see everybody. All right. Any questions? We're about out of time. I don't want to take too much. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.